Hey, how's it going, friends? Thank you for tuning in to VR Revelations. Welcome. Please make sure you give this video a like and make sure you subscribe for future content. Also, if you want to support the channel, check out the links below. You can go over to Rumble and subscribe to my channel there, as I do upload these videos over there, and I do plan on making videos on other topics on that website. But anyways, it is March 30th, the year of our Lord, 2023, and the former president of the United States, Donald J. Trump, has been indicted. So he has been criminally charged, apparently for paying Stormy Daniels, who I believe is a former porn star, hush money. So I think they had sexual intercourse, and Trump apparently paid her some money through his then lawyer, Michael Cohen, I believe is his name. Correct me if I'm wrong. And so, the charges seem to be pretty light. It's, in my opinion, probably not going to lead to anything serious. It's not going to put him in jail for many years. Now, of course, this has infuriated Donald Trump's base, right? Mostly the Republicans. So they're angry. And they're saying that America will never be the same after this, that this is complete corruption. And the Democrats, well, I assume they're probably happy right now. But in reality, this could have the effect that it's going to invigorate Donald Trump's base, which could boost his ratings when it comes to the election. Of course, there's rumors that DeSantis, the governor of Florida, might be running up against Donald Trump, but as we see these cases come out against Donald Trump, this could embolden him and also strengthen his candidacy for the presidency once again. This could backfire for the Democrats, but I'm sure that, they probably see this as, a victory for them. They probably see this as proof that, justice is being carried out, since, most Democrats believe Donald Trump is a menace to, the United States. And, they've been going after him for a while. Of course, when he was in office, we saw him get impeached twice. Once for, supposedly colluding with Russia and basically rigging the election, the 2016 election, and then we saw him impeached once again, or a second time, I believe, for I think trying to supposedly bribe Ukraine at that time, with a pro quo. So he was essentially trying to get Ukraine to admit that Joe Biden was corrupt or something like that. But, they've been going after him pretty hard. It's historical. I don't think a president has ever been persecuted or attacked as much as Donald Trump has. Now, I'm neither Republican nor Democrat. I'm not justifying Donald Trump. I've actually read, about his history before he was even president. And there's been a lot of shady deals that he's done in the past. But most of the politicians, I hate to say it, are corrupt. There aren't really any godly men in office right now. And those that apparently are, oftentimes are hypocrites. But, I'm not here to judge. I'm not here to pass sentence. The best I can do is just, tell people to turn away from evil and turn to God. But yeah, we're going to be reading a piece here from Politico, essentially giving us a summary of what is going on. But I do want to show you on Twitter right now. This is trending pretty much all over the internet. We can see here people saying Donald Trump was indicted before Hunter Biden was. Tells you everything you need to know. So he's insinuating that Hunter Biden and the whole laptop story, that they're corrupt, but since they are in power, they're going after Donald Trump. We see another one. Donald Trump was going to ban TikTok 3 years ago through an executive order. Now they're trying to pass a bill to take away all of your online privacy and freedoms. Tonight's indictment of Donald Trump isn't about the law, it's about power, raw power. It's the Democrat Party telling the nation they will stop at nothing to control the outcome of the next presidential election. It is an assault on our democracy, pure and simple. Representative Eric Swalwell, who I believe is a Democrat, the indictment of a former president is a somber day for America. It's also time to put faith in our judicial system. Donald Trump deserves every protection provided to him by the Constitution. As that unfolds, let us neither celebrate nor destroy. Justice benefits us all. Donald Trump has been indicted by the Manhattan grand jury. And so, yeah, you have people that are sympathizers, and you have people that, are celebrating what is happening to Donald Trump. It looks like he might be, he might be surrendering or going to court. But yeah, this is definitely, again, I have to reference the Bible because ultimately that's where I put my faith, not in men, not in politicians, not in ideologies, but in the Word of God. And so, Jesus himself said that a house divided against itself or a kingdom divided against itself cannot stand. And that's what we're seeing in the United States more than anywhere else in the world. Say what you will about Russia and China, accuse them all you want of dictatorship, of being authoritarian. But this is the problem with democracies, that everybody wants to govern the nation in their own way. And so, when you have these men rise to power with their certain ideology, they will usually try to make the best of their time in power, and you start to see all this chaos, right? All this disagreement, all this infighting between people, between political parties. And so that's pretty much what we're seeing right now in the United States. And this is pretty much reaching a boiling point. If you can imagine just, actually seeing footage of Donald Trump possibly being arrested or actually doing jail time, even if it's a couple of days, you're probably going to have, fighting in the streets. You're probably going to see bloodshed. Again, there's extremists on both sides. I'm sure some people are probably already taking up arms and declaring civil war and stuff like that. But yeah, it's definitely a chaotic time in the United States. At the same time, they're trying to deal with Russia and China. And, Russia and China must be looking at this just loving it. Again, I'm just a spectator right now. I believe everything that is going on right now in the world is prophetic in nature. And, it does seem like we're seeing, or we are rather seeing, the collapse of the American Republic, or so-called democracy. But I think there will be a time of unison, right? I think there will be a great lie, but I'm not quite sure that Trump will be the head of this movement. However, this could definitely strengthen him or weaken him. We're living in strange times, so anything can happen. I don't think anybody expected this to happen today. So anyways, let's go ahead and take a look at this political article here. So it says, your questions about the Trump indictment answered. How strong is this case? Can Trump continue campaigning? And when will he be brought to trial? The unprecedented indictment of former President Donald Trump plunges the legal system into murky waters. The Manhattan grand jury's decision to charge Trump for his alleged involvement in a hush money scheme raises a bevy of questions about the soundness of the case, the logistics involved in forcing a former president into criminal court, and the ramifications for other ongoing state and federal investigations of Trump. Here's Politico's look at some of the key questions posed by the indictment. What is Trump accused of? While the precise charges are secret for now, prosecutors have concluded they can prove a criminal case against Trump because of the apparent subterfuge surrounding a $130,000 payment to adult film actress Stormy Daniels to keep her from publicizing her claim about a sexual encounter with Trump. Now remember, it's reported that Trump paid Stormy Daniels, this former porn star, to keep silence about their sexual relations because they thought this could affect his campaign for the presidency, which he won. Trump's lawyer Michael Cohen funded that payment through a home equity line of credit. Trump insisted in April 2018 he did not know about the hush money, but Cohen provided Congress a series of check images signed by Trump reflecting payments to Cohen that he said were reimbursements for the money he laid out, including at least 2 that came while Trump was in the White House. Cohen said that Trump and his company concealed the purpose of the payments by falsely labeling them as legal expenses. Under New York law, disguising such payments in corporate records is a crime, but typically only a misdemeanor, so it's not a serious crime. It becomes a felony if the false business records were intended to obscure a second crime. In this case, that second crime appears to be the use of the funds to advance Trump's presidential campaign, allegedly in violation of campaign finance laws. So we actually have a chart here by Political of key figures in the Trump indictment. Here are some of the people involved as the case against former President Donald Trump moves forward. Of course, we have his former disgraced lawyer Michael Cohen. Trump's former attorney testified in 2018 that he made a hush money payment on behalf of Trump. We have Stormy Daniels, the former porn actress. We have Alvin Bragg, the Manhattan DA, who has indicted him essentially, even though it was actually a grand jury from New York. The Manhattan DA took office in January 2002 and inherited the investigation. Alan Weisselberg, prosecutor, gave the ex-Trump organization CFO immunity in their hush money probe. Joe Tacopina, a vocal member of Trump's legal team, he began representing Trump earlier this year. Susan Nischels, she is one of Trump's lawyers. Robert Costello, Cohen's former legal advisor, cast aspirations on Cohen's credibility before the grand jury. Karen McDougal, the model, is another woman who received hush money for her involvement with Trump. Wow, so I didn't actually know about this. Another woman here who apparently had sexual relations with Donald Trump. Finally, we have David Pecker, the former National Enquirer CEO, has been linked to Cohen's efforts to pay off Daniels and McDougal. The strongest evidence of such a link to politics may be the timing. After months of demands, the money was wired to Daniels' lawyer on October 27, 2016, just days before the 2016 presidential election. What are the possible holds in the prosecution's case? It is difficult to assess the case against Trump without knowing the exact charges of all the evidence that prosecutors have marshaled during an investigation that has lasted for more than 4 years. But based on publicly available information, legal experts have identified several features of the case that may present stumbling blocks as prosecutors seek a guilty verdict. For starters, Cohen is not the strongest possible witness for prosecutors. He's provided a lot of evidence and testimony needed to bring the case, which investigators have gone to great lengths to authenticate. But his credibility is open to challenge since he pleaded guilty in 2018 to 9 felonies and was sentenced to 3 years in federal prison. He's also repeatedly expressed extreme bitterness towards Trump, so they could accuse him of bias, even running a podcast he titled Mea Culpa, an allusion to his regrets over his time as Trump's ally. The case also dates to 2016 and 2017, so it's more than 5 years old. Some of the delay can be readily explained. Pressing a criminal case against Trump while he was in office would have been difficult and perhaps impossible. But it's been more than 2 years now since Trump left the White House. Trump could argue that prosecutors waited too long. New York's statute of limitations for most felonies is 5 years. But there are some exceptions to that deadline, including if the person being charged was living out of state. Another potential difficulty, prosecutors may have to prove that Trump knew the arrangement was legal. Trump could argue that he fairly assumed that Cohen, as an attorney, was executing the payments and related paperwork in a manner that was lawful. So essentially, they're saying that he can put the blame on, Cohen. Will Trump remain free? Can he campaign while under indictment? That will be up to the state court judge assigned to Trump's case. But it seems unlikely that prosecutors would seek to detain the former president or restrict his travel in the U.S. while the case is pending. There is no legal impediment to his continuing his presidential campaign while facing criminal charges, or if he were jailed. If Trump won the presidency while facing charges or a conviction, the legalities become considerably more murky. There are serious constitutional questions about whether a state court could keep someone elected to federal office from serving. How will the indictment affect the other ongoing Trump-focused investigations? The short answer is not much. So, of course, Donald Trump has a whole bunch of cases against him. And again, most of his base would say that, these are unfair attacks, that these are just the Democrats abusing their power, which it could very well be. But it also says here, how long will it take Trump to be brought to trial? It will, by necessity, take many months to commence a trial of a former president of the United States. So, we're 3 months into 2023. The next presidential elections are next year in November. Trump is essentially they're already campaigning. So again, it's all about the timing, right? People are saying that the Democrats are carrying this out in order to try to damage essentially Donald Trump's reputation. And as we're reading there, it's going to take months for him to actually appear in court. So probably into next year, possibly. So this could be a tactic to disrupt his campaign, which it probably is. But either way, whatever way you look at it, guys, either Donald Trump is innocent and this is a corrupt investigation, or Donald Trump is culpable and he is corrupt. Either way, somebody is lying here. So either way, the system is corrupt. I would say it's all corrupt. All governments are corrupt. But, this is very interesting because, again, personally, I think, Donald Trump's not going to go to jail. If we actually saw footage of him going to jail, especially for a long time, which is not likely, as we just read, this is a misdemeanor. His base would go out in the streets and we would probably have a civil war. But before that could happen, Joe Biden would probably pardon Donald Trump, and then Joe Biden could try to make himself seem as a hero or a peace dealer or something like that. But yeah, I think it's pretty obvious that for the Democrats, this is an attempt to throw a stumbling block into Donald Trump's campaign, and something to try and damage his reputation. And for the Republicans, they probably see this as an opportunity to capitalize on this, right? And to sort of, and encourage Donald Trump's base to invigorate them, and also to prove their point in their accusations of corruption towards the Democrats and Joe Biden. But since Donald Trump really isn't going to go to jail, I think this actually works for the Republicans. Again, I don't see any people who previously voted for Trump looking at this and changing their vote over to a Democrat. On the contrary, they're probably going to double down on their support for Donald Trump. And if this backfires, which it more than likely will, if their intention is to actually put Donald Trump in jail, that could actually, that could discourage some Democrats who were on the fence with everything going on in the economy in the United States, with the support of Ukraine, with the sort of Cold War that is taking place against China. Again, the United States is collapsing, and this is just another symptom of what is going on right now in the United States. But yeah, I don't expect to see Donald Trump in jail. Again, before that happens, Biden would probably pardon him for fears of riots and terrorist acts or a civil war on the streets. But what I am observing from this is that this could be a tactic here in order to damage Donald Trump's campaign, right? If he's caught up with all this legal stuff, if he has to appear in court in a couple of months, possibly into next year, then he's not going to have much time to campaign, and that could definitely work against him. But yeah, guys, even as we see all this mess in these governments and the corruption, remember, everything you do on this earth, everything you sow, you have to reap. Now, everybody can turn away from evil and from corruption, walk in God's word and, start to do good. We're all equal before God. But yeah, this is just an ideological war that is taking place. That is all the corruption springs forth from lust for power, from man-made ideologies, philosophies, and desires. And this is definitely a fall of Rome moment in the United States, and I think it's going to have other consequences. I think it's going to precipitate a complete, total economic collapse of the U.S. But again, as I've said before, I think this is all prophetic in nature. And I think that these things have to happen, but my objective here is not to get so caught up in the infighting, in the politics of it, but rather take a step back and look at the big picture. And again, as Jesus Christ himself said, a kingdom divided against itself cannot stand. Anyways, that's going to be it for this video, guys. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. And remember, the truth is stranger than fiction. Have a wonderful day, and God bless.